There's a lot that goes into financial success, like luck, unfair advantages, where you were born. But if you're a regular person like me, you don't rely on luck or unfair advantages, and you want to make your first million online, in this video, I'm gonna go over 7 habits that have helped me become a millionaire, starting from zero as a Romanian immigrant in Australia, having only $2,000 in my pocket and a 6-year-old daughter to raise on my own. And in this video, I'll take you from concept to what to do and how to do it to become a millionaire. And one of these 7 habits is the one that's currently taking me from multiple 7 figures per year to 8 figures per year. So I'll break that down as well. Habit number 1, unsubscribe from the broke mindset. You can't take advice from people who live the same 6 months over and over again until they die. Now, I realized early on that it's a complete waste of time to not only take advice from these people, but justify my ambition to people who have none. And unless somebody has what you want, their advice is not advice, it's sabotage. Now, on a more practical note, if you have a day job, you're likely going to have to quit that job to start a business or start a side hustle until that side hustle can make you at least the bare minimum of what you need to live on. Usually, if you want to acquire wealth in a short amount of time, you have to build at least one, if not multiple streams of income that do not rely on you trading your time for money. And it's not an easy decision, but ultimately, if you want something different in your life, you have to do you, make the call, burn the bridges, and don't look back, because the worst thing in life is an unmade decision. Now, the first step that I took when I knew I had to make this move in my life is I started educating myself by consuming content and reading books from people who aligned with my goals. Like 10 years ago, it was Gary Vee. 5 years ago, I was consuming Naval Ravikant. And in the last couple of years, I'm consuming Alex and Leila Hormozi. Now, habit number 2, don't find your passion, make it. Now, a lot of people get stuck in building a business around their passion or their hobby. And that's fine, but what if you have none? Or what if your passion is not the path to a highly profitable business? Well, that's going to be a waste of time. So the first step, assume you're dumber than anyone else. Do your homework, do your research, try multiple things until you've tried enough that you start getting good at something and you start recognizing patterns of what works and what doesn't. Now, you'll probably suck at a lot of things that you try for the first time, and that's fine. But the secret is to eventually do something that people or businesses would pay you good money for. So to do this, look at problems out there in the world. Look at what sucks in the world and how can you create solutions for what sucks. How can you learn a skill that's in demand or sell a product that people need? And everything is figure-outable. That might not even be a word, but everything is Googleable. I sucked at building chatbots in 2016. Now I'm quite good at it. Now, the interesting thing is I'm not even a highly technical person. Actually, I'm an accountant. So in 2019, I spent months researching and asking the right people. I kept coming back to the concept of chatbots and how that could change the way businesses sold online. And then I read about AI, and that was literally in 2020, in the middle of COVID. People didn't even know what chatbots were, not to mention AI. But I saw the AI opportunity back then. And I taught myself how to build Facebook Messenger chatbots powered by Google's AI Dialogflow. I soon came to realize that businesses were not yet ready for AI, but they were ready for chatbots on Facebook Messenger and Instagram DM. So I doubled down on that, and I only brought up AI to business owners that I felt were a little bit more open-minded than others. Now, once you find something, don't get stuck in figuring it all out or solving problems on your own, but rather asking yourself, who can help me solve this problem faster? Who's solved it before? Now, I reached a point where I had thousands of friends on Facebook, but these were mostly people whom I was stalking, learning from. They were doing well in their businesses. And so I DM'd everyone. I simply DM'd people and asked questions. And mind you, not all answered. But it's crazy that from the few that did, how much I learned from them for free, because they answered my silly questions. And then I volunteered to work for some of them for free for other chatbot experts. And I did that for about 2 to 3 months. And that's how I built my skill set with $0 and understood what the market wants. Habit number 3. zero morning routine. Now, this is arguably the worst thing that you can do if you're trying to lift a business off the ground with $0 in your pocket. Now, I've been waking up at 3 a.m. for about 4 years now. And let me tell you this, something's always gotta give. You must be comfortable making the trade-off and understanding that this will be your number one priority right now if you really want to build a business. There's no waking up and meditating or journaling and all of these things. You wake up, you brush your teeth, you sit down, and you work. It takes me about 5 minutes between waking up and starting to work in the morning. This is when you have the most focus and the most energy. And if you think about it, 2 hours spent on a morning routine that literally burns through all your energy and your focus, that's 14 hours every week. That's 728 hours every year. Now, how much more likely are you to make your first million if you add an extra 728 hours of focused work in the first year you start your business? And I know everyone looks at the world's millionaires and billionaires with their health routines, but that's not how they made their millions. They were comfortable with the initial imbalance, with the day-to-day hustle, with a trade-off. And once they made it, that's when they started taking morning walks. Habit number 4. Learn to fail without becoming a failure. Now, when I decided to leave Romania in 2015, I had a good life in Romania, but I wanted more. I wanted a different society, a first world country to raise my daughter in, to have my own business. So for a time, I had to get comfortable with a significant decrease in status, with what other people saw as a bad move or a mistake or a failure. Now, I had to get comfortable with taking 3 steps back in order to take 10 steps forward in the coming years after I emigrated to Australia and eventually started my own business. Now, I want you to do an exercise with me. Alex Hormozi gave this example in one of his Instagram reels, and I thought it was brilliant. Now, imagine you want to make $1 million per year, this being your first goal. Now, think about how much are you making right now? Let's say you're making $50K a year. Now, subtract $50K from 1 million and you get $950,000. Every single year, you pay $950,000 in ignorance for not knowing how to make $1 million. Habit number 5, brute force. When you found your idea, you start hustling to make it a reality. Now, most people dramatically underestimate how much volume of work it takes to be successful. Now, doing volume will put you in the lonely chapter because you don't fit in with your old lifestyle and friends, but you also don't have the evidence yet to fit in with a new group of people. And you're doing all of these weird things online, taking courses, watching tutorials, reading books, trying to figure out how to build a business. And every day you're wondering if this is even worth it because you have no clue what you're doing. But I want to tell you that you're supposed to feel like that. And you're expected to put in the 14-hour workdays consistently despite all this. Now, that's why so few people become millionaires, because it's a combination of feelings that most people can't handle. And one thing that's helped me is when I realized early on that everything takes longer than I thought it did. And that was discouraging. And the bigger the dreams, the longer it took. Way longer than my initial estimation. If I thought something was going to take me 3 months, it took me 1 year. So I learned not to get stuck in a time frame. And all I did was establish what I wanted to achieve, then figured out something to do in the meantime. Keep yourself distracted while you stay focused. And while you do the obvious thing for long enough, I simply did not think about the goal. I only focused on the work. I almost acted like a robot. Get up, do the work, go to sleep. Get up the next day, do the work, go to sleep. Habit number 6, don't build confidence, build evidence. Now, your first 10K a month will arguably be the hardest to hit. And before I walk you through how I hit mine, I want to talk about what it means to get out of survival mode. That first 10K a month will take you out of the survival mode, which is literally the worst situation you can be in. Not having security to pay your rent, buy food, feed your family. That kills all creativity and it kills focus. And this is the most challenging time you'll go through. So let's see how do you sell something when you have no evidence of it working or getting results? You have no testimonials, no product reviews. Well, whether you sell a product or a service or a SaaS, it doesn't matter. What relaxes buyers the most is risk reversal. By that I mean some form of a guarantee. Alex Hormozi breaks that down in his $100 million offers best-selling book, which I thought it was brilliant. And how I did it, I told everyone I pitched, if you're not happy with what I do, whether it's my chatbot, you don't like me, it doesn't matter. I will give you your money back in the next 30 days, no questions asked. And that is literally how I closed my first client. Now from here, is just brute force. 14-hour workdays for months, simply doing the boring work that nobody wants to do in silence for long enough with no paycheck. I know that doesn't sound sexy, but that's what it takes. Now, it took me 6 months of cold emailing and cold DMing to get my first client. And when you start your business, there are only two things that can happen when you want to make it. You either do the work for however long it takes and it eventually works, or you give up before it does. Success and failure are really both on the same road. Failure is just an earlier exit. And that's why only 0.1% of entrepreneurs do the work that's required for long enough to succeed. Habit number 7, buy people's experience. Once you have a bit of success, you can buy people's knowledge and transfer it to you. Now, this is an interesting concept and by far the one thing that will accelerate your success like nothing else. Once I had some money to spend, I didn't buy clothes and I didn't buy cars. I started paying other people for their time. I paid some $500 an hour. I paid others $2,000 an hour just to get on a Zoom call with me and answer my questions. And then I started paying 6 figures per year to get access to people who are already making 8 figures per year. Why? Because at the time of filming this video, I'm not making 8 figures per year, but that's the fastest way for me to get to that as my next goal. And the reality is that there are only 2 ways to pay to learn things in life. Either in time, when you don't have money, or cash and limit the amount of time you spend learning something. Now, I hope you found this video useful. Hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.